All right. Hello, Scorpio. How's everybody doing today? Hopefully, everybody's doing well, that your day is getting off to a great start or your evening's getting off to a great start. Thank you for being patient while I got set up this morning. One of those days where there were just a lot of messages coming through and a lot of things to kind of get together. And Apollo wants to make sure you can see and hear him as well. Thanks, buddy. So my name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. Welcome to your monthly reading. If you're brand new here, welcome. You can always use this for your sun, your rising, as well as your moon sign, and actually any aspect of your chart that you happen to know. I'm going to put down my little assistant here so we can get started. Good job, buddy. All right, so the way that this works is I like to begin every reading with messages that I get from dreams and meditation. And today you have some really interesting dream messages surrounding the heart as an organ, the heart space as well. And I'll talk about the dream, and then I'll talk about some of the symbology that we always kind of work through whenever the heart chakra comes up. So the channel messages will be how we kick things off. Then we'll move on to the Celtic Cross, where I'll go a little bit deeper and let the cards kind of lead us through all of the opportunities in the month ahead. And I always let that take whatever shape it needs to. And then later I focus on health, wealth, love, and destiny in the expanded portion. That way it's not sort of like just love-centric or career-centric, since we're all at different stages of life and different experiences, etc. So that kind of makes sure that everybody can get what they need out of this. Then we'll go on to a big idea, which is one thing to really focus on to be successful in the month ahead. After that, it gets a little bit more fun, and I break things up a bit. We'll look at a blessing and a block, something to really look forward to, something to be mindful of, and then I throw out some options for you to vote on things in the viewers and readers' choice section. At the very end, I always allow you to meditate on a single question. So this is kind of proactively answering things that come up where my moderator, Maria, has to answer it. But I don't answer questions in the live stream. I do keep an eye on things, make sure that we're connecting and all of that. But when it comes to me getting into the channel and kind of talking about what's going on, I like to stay focused. But at the end, this is how I kind of give back to you. You can focus on a question, you can ask it, and then I will pull a card and collectively read what the answer will be. All right. Right before that, there's always a meditation as well. All right. So that's the main organized sort of schedule for today. Occasionally, it'll ebb and flow in different directions, but that's the basics. Before we get into the channeled messages, just a couple of quick notes. If you ever need information on when I'm going to be live, you can go to my website. I'm going to quickly grab a link here and post it for you so that you have it for reference. This is also going to help you find my official social media platforms, which I'm going to also put up here. So all my social platforms are right here. It's just my name, Nicholas Ashbaugh. Make sure that the spelling is right, and honestly, you can just use that pinned link that I put below to ensure that it's me. There's a lot of folks out there that, particularly for those that do spiritual and wellness, they tend to kind of like impersonate us, so you have to be careful and realize that, changes in the spelling of the name can sometimes be tricky. So just use my website when in doubt, and you can go to the About page also here on YouTube, and all of those links are official. And Ashbaugh on Twitter is the only sort of deviation from my name. Remember, I don't give personal readings. I'll never reach out and ask for something through direct message, and I don't have additional accounts. Unless it's listed on my website, it doesn't exist. Just some safety tips. I would love for you to show some support by hitting that subscribe button if you're new here or if you've been watching a long time. It doesn't cost anything. It's the same as following or liking on social media. Thumbs up also helps with engagement. So please do like this video once and subscribe once in a lifetime. It's small things to do, but really helps with everything. And if you'd like to give back a little bit more, you can do a super chat or super sticker or become a supporting member or Patreon. The membership and super stickers and chats are all available here. On replay, there's something called super thanks, and it works the same way. And I do see it, and I always heart whoever gives to that. All right, so that's everything. Let's get ready for the channeled messages. I'm going to set up the presentation, and then we'll get started. So as I'm doing that, I hope everybody's doing well. I definitely feel a shift in energy today. Yesterday was really intense as we moved through the full moon energy. I took a hike yesterday, and you can take a look at it on my Instagram, actually, some pictures from that. I think that it's really important, as I said to everybody on my Instagram feed, that as a light worker, we take time to kind of change up the energy, change up the environment. We're going to talk a little bit about that today as well. I'm actually going to put that one more last thing, change the environment, because this is really important. It helps elevate our sort of view of the world, not just sort of figuratively, but literally sometimes too. All right, so your totems and messages are as follows. In dreams, I was shown the heart first and foremost. I'll talk about it more in a second, but it's both emotional and physical, so we want to pay special attention to that part of our body as the month goes through. Also creating a new cycle. I was shown, it was interesting, sometimes with guides, they will use homonyms. I was shown cereal, like that we would eat, but what they really wanted me to get was cereal, like a cycle, because they're spelled differently, sound the same, spelled differently. And I was like, I get it. It's about changing the cycle, because they showed me like putting water over top of that and then the cereal melting. And I was like, this is the end of a cycle for many of you. So this is almost like the world card coming through. And then changing up the environment, as I was just talking about. All right, let's go to the first message here, which was the heart. Before I get into all the fun facts here on the slide, a couple of things to kind of like set the scene here. What I saw was almost like I was entering in a wake. There was a person or something that had come to pass, and when I was talking to the people present, they were showing me the heart space, and I understood what it meant. It meant that because there was a lack of, for some people, like this could be a relationship coming to an end. It could also be a job coming to an end. If your heart's not in it, the energy between you and that sort of energetic investment fizzles out. And it's almost as if you're kind of mourning the loss of something. So some of you, it's more of a symbolic loss, and the heart wasn't in it. And so I was kind of attending the wake for that disconnection, that sort of dissolution of whatever it was in your life. There could have been someone in your life that you lost, and that could also represent something that you're feeling, that kind of outpour, that disconnect. Whenever someone leaves the planet, the reason it hurts is because the cords are pulled out really quickly. We may not be ready for that, so you may be sort of mourning the loss of that as well. Sudden change creating a heart shift is what I was picking up on in the dreams. Let's look at some of the facts about the heart, and then we'll recontextualize this. So first of all, the heart is an amazing muscle. I've used it as a totem before, and I was looking at some of my research. This part really resonated again with me, which is that it beats at least 2.5 billion times, and that's for an average lifetime, which might be in the 70 to 75 year range. So for many of us that live to 80, 100, etc., it's going to beat even longer than that and more than that. I've mentioned this in previous readings before, but it's also kind of like a metronome. When it loses its cadence and beat and rhythm, you have to put a pacemaker in there. So for some of you, if I'm seeing an arrested heart, what I'm also seeing is that things are not rhythmically working right now. You might be in a situation where you're just you're in a different frequency, your mind and your heart are in a different place, and it feels discordant. And what we need to sort of do now is to kind of help you find something that rhythmically fits for you. It reminds you to clear blockages, because this organ can't be blocked. It has to, if it does, then it goes into arrest. So where there are blockages in your life, they could be emotional, they could be physical, they could be environmental, it could be mental. There's any, blocks can take many forms, but wherever that block may be or those blocks may be, you need to really focus on working on clearing those before you try to move to the next thing. Otherwise, it's just sort of the same thing again and again and again, and it gets frustrating. So this is a chance for you to really go to the root of something. And it's kind of like for any of you gardeners out there, whenever you see a weed, there's a lot of them that have tap roots. And if you just pull out the top, the tap root exists and it actually throws another shoot out. So what we have to do when there's a deep-rooted issue is to go into the tap root in our energetic system and extract that. That way the same energy doesn't kind of keep coming back. The same cycle doesn't keep coming back into your life, okay? Emotional healing is absolutely possible right here and right now, and that's going to help you as you decide to get into new relationships in your life. Passion and inspiration are reigning supreme. They can be good, they can also be challenging. The good part of this is if you're artistic, even if you're a very practical person, you could get very sort of connected to your task if you love it, and you're going to be very productive then. So the heart is the most important thing. We'll be looking at love for sure today because this was part of the totem, but I look at the heart as in a sort of much more holistic point of view. It's not just about, passion between you and another person. It's, are you passionately connected to what you're doing? Are you happy? Are you satisfied? All of those things matter. All right, so next slide. The heart in mythology. I always like to go back to Egyptian mythology for this because I think it has one of the best symbols here, and I kind of pulled out some icons to show what I'm going to be talking about here. But ancient Egyptians, first and foremost, believed that this was not just where you felt, but it was where you held sacred knowledge. And I think they're onto something on some levels because heart energy represents love. Love is the universal currency. It's also the universal language when you move into spiritual realms. So it would make sense that this would be a filter for what was right and what was wrong. Just like Akashic records, Egyptians believed that the heart kind of recorded all of the deeds, good and bad, in your life. So when someone passed, their heart was weighed against this feather here. So there was a goddess, Maat, goddess of truth and justice. And as she weighed your heart on the scale, Anubis sat there and watched, and basically there was a decision made. Did you live a life where your heart was light and free and good, or did you have a heavy heart? Were there deeds and things that you did where you basically just didn't do what you were supposed to do? And I would say for you right now, if it doesn't feel right, if you're asked to move forward in a job and you don't feel like you get behind sort of like the overall methods or morals of the company, if you're in a relationship and someone's pushing you, if you're just going through the motions and your heart's not in it, this month is really about reconnecting the heart to what's going on. Because without it, you're just kind of like a machine moving forward. We got to put this in here so that there is emotion, there is wisdom, there is all of the things that are going to kind of really make this life fulfilling. So what can you do? You can free your heart. There's no time for a heavy heart. Focus on releasing or healing the things that weigh you down. Redirect any of the attention towards those things and move it towards something different. Re-energize your goals and ambitions. If there's someone in your life that drives you crazy, if there's something in your life that drives you crazy, and not in a good way, it's sort of like you're kind of constantly feeling this oppressive energy, this is the time to release it and say, on to something better. I'm ready for something higher in my life. Thank you, universe, for this lesson. I no longer need it. And you're ready for graduation, basically, okay? The sort of serial, what it would be SERIAL instead of CEREAL, we're looking at the serial changes or the series. And if there is a single card in tarot that represents a series or a cycle, it would definitely be the Eight of Cups. The Eight of Cups can be good because it shows that if you want to stick to a series or a cycle, you'll have success with it. It can also be frustrating because if you don't properly end things, then things come back again. Or like we were talking about just a few minutes ago, if you don't extract the root cause of a sort of situation or condition, you're sort of stuck repeating it. It's like history, right? You have to learn, you have to understand. There are a few cards, not just Eight of Cups, that would be coming through. I would also say Death and the Ace of Pentacles, because once you break a cycle, then you have a chance to plant something new in that cycle. That would be the Ace of Pentacles. And then Death represents the space, the opening, and the transition that allows you to step from one state into another. And so all of these energies are coming forth at this period. I've been mentioning as much as I can remember to say so that next month is kind of special because you'll get a full moon possibly twice depending on your time zone, but if not, you'll get one at the beginning of March, one at the beginning of April. So you have two chances to create new cycles, to create new beginnings. So take advantage of them, okay? Choose your battles wisely. In dreams, I saw you in something that I would call a war room, and a war room is really a place to strategize. When I was working in marketing corporations, a lot of times this would be a place where we would put all of the branding campaigns, all of the deadlines, all of the sort of goals, and you would go there to sort of think. It would almost be like a think tank, but traditionally it would really be a place where you would go to strategize a battle. And one of the cards that comes to me when I'm thinking about this message from Spirit would be Five of Swords, because there are some battles that you can win. There are some where there really isn't a winner. There's so much both sides are going to sacrifice that at the end of the day, it's sort of like, would it be better just to cut losses and walk? The 5 and the 7 are kind of like sister or cousin cards here. The 5 of Swords is oftentimes showing up when there is a person in your life that's shut off to reason, and they're just not listening. They're just sort of like doing what they want to do. And it's very difficult to have a conversation with someone who, when you give direction, when you give feedback, refuses to sort of see it from your point of view. And even if you're going to receive some sort of a communication or apology, it's always about what they want first and how they saw it. And they're like, I see what you're saying, but you have to see it from my point of view. There's a lot of that kind of energy. And it's sort of like, but you don't really understand me because you're always putting yourself first. So it would be much better to say, the other person, you know that there's openness when they say, I thought about it, I put myself in your shoes, and I see why you're upset. I'm sorry if I upset you. Do you want to hear how I got to that place? That's a more effective way than sort of front loading it with, I was right, and I think I understand why you think you were right, but I'm really right. That's not a way to sort of go about arguing, about moving forward on a sort of debate. Really, there has to be more empathy. And if you're working with someone who lacks the empathy, they're just missing a big piece of the puzzle, and it's probably not a good exchange of energy for you. So that's a battle that's not worth fighting. Sometimes it's better to walk away and go somewhere else. So really think about, is it worth fighting? Is the person listening? Are they open, or are they just thinking of the next thing to say? Are they just thinking about how they look in this particular situation? In tarot, I would say one of the most frustrating cards sometimes that comes up if you're reading someone is the 5 of Swords, because you just know that it's going to be tricky, and it would be difficult to tell someone how to navigate. It's sometimes a no-win. So if you're in a sort of no-win situation, the one way that you can really make sure that you're not wasting time or sort of like, it's almost like a car that's in mud and it's not going anywhere, is to just stop and walk in another direction. One way that you can do this is to change your environment. Yesterday, I had a really good morning, actually, but Spirit whispered, go take a hike. And I went to a canyon that I hadn't been to for like 3 or 4 years prior to the pandemic. And it was really nice to get outside again. It was really nice to just sort of like see the world from a different perspective. If you live in a big city like New York or Los Angeles or Chicago or London or wherever, Cairo, sometimes you're in the sort of you're in your own city element, but when you can kind of get up and see the entire city from a different point of view, it helps you see how small everything is, how small you are, or how you can kind of get lost in the shuffle sometimes. And it was just really grounding. So get out of your office, get out of your home, get out of whatever you're doing a little bit and reconnect with nature. And also separate yourself from harsh energies here. You can see in the slide I talk about people with limited perspectives, people that harshly criticize you, people that are just outright negative. And really focus on empowering thoughts and what is possible. For those of us that live in families that aren't very supportive, go to a school where there's a lot of cliques, or work in an environment where people just aren't very welcoming, the perspective will let you kind of go back and think, is this a cycle that I want to keep doing? If not, then I'm going to cut my losses and I'm going to focus on moving on. I'm going to let go of this. I don't have to hold it all up like Atlas, hold up the world, right? So this is your opportunity right now, is this chance for liberation and for freedom. So as we look at the cards today here in just a few minutes, I'm going to help you go through all of these opportunities and see what avails itself to you, okay? So let's get ready for the Celtic Cross. And I'm going to select a few decks for you to vote on today, just because I had a lot of time earlier that I was spending on organizing things. So I'm going to pick one new one, and I'm going to pick some old ones. We're just going to kind of go through, and I'll try to make it a difficult choice for you today so that there's some different options. Hopefully everybody's doing well. I'm definitely ready for the weekend. A quick reminder that I always have a Sunday collective, which I hope you guys can join if you're free. So please do that. Give me a second here to select some cards. I know you can't hear me when I go away from that, but just give me a couple minutes here. I want to try to choose some that you haven't necessarily seen. So let's see what's coming through here. These are still some of my favorites, but okay. I'll let you take a look at them as I put a poll up here for you. I don't always do that, but today I thought let's let everybody vote on it, and I'll just pick some that I like, including some new ones and some that haven't been in rotation for a while. All right, so let me get the poll set up here. If you're watching live, you're going to be able to vote. If you watch later, just trust that the collective had your best interest at heart. All right, so which deck would you like? And right here, this is a brand new one. This is called Star Seeker. I'll pull all the cards up in just a second so you can see them, but I'll list them out here. So Star Seekers Tarot. Then we have, I think this one is Field. Pretty sure this is Field Tarot. And then we have the Divine, Tarot of the Divine. And then we also have Wildwood, which is one of my favorites too. They're all good. You don't have a bad choice in this entire deck. Yeah, it's Field Tarot. All right, so while you're voting, I'm gonna pull a few of these up so you can see them. So let's go for the wide view for a second. So for option number 1, you have this brand new deck called Star Seeker. I've used it a few times, but it's fresh off the presses. I have some new ones that are coming in, but I may not have them until next week. So this is one of the new ones. Beautiful background on it too. Star Seeker. Then we have the Field Tarot, which is very similar in sort of illustration. So I'm making it kind of hard for you, but either one of these is great. Both are abstract. Then we have Tarot of the Divine, which is beautiful, one of my favorites, and has like all these reimagined fairy tales. And then we have a more nature-based Wildwood here, which is going to have more sort of like spirit totems, and it's a much different illustration style. So there you go. So let's see which one is in the lead. It looks like Tarot of the Divine and Wildwood are at a tie, and now it looks like Tarot of the Divine is in the lead. So I'm going to end the poll, and I have no problem reading with Tarot of the Divine. It's a beautiful choice. So give me a second here to stack up all of the cards and make sure that the choice that you wanted won. And it did. Tarot of the Divine by 31%. All right, good choice, everybody. Let's get started. All right, let me pull the camera down so we can see what's going on here. And thank you for everyone that voted. It's one of the benefits of joining a live reading. I try to allow you a chance to okay, that just popped out. I give you a chance to participate whenever you can. Since it popped out, I'm just going to put it upright because I'm not sure which position. By the way, for those that are putting their votes in the comments, it doesn't work that way. You have to actually click on the poll. But it's okay. We've already chosen, and you chose very well. This is a beautiful deck. So for people that are giving me a hard time about which one won, I have to kind of go with the one that did it during the time period. So before it finalized, I just had to go with it. So let's just go with the flow, people. I will use the Wildwood for the other questions that I ask, like the viewer's choice and the blessings and blocks and whatnot. When I ended the poll, the other one was in the lead, so I did what I could. It's gonna be fine. No freaking out. We're gonna be okay, everyone. We'll compromise, okay? Here's the thing when we do a poll. I really have to kind of like move with the flow. Sometimes if I wait too long for all of it to come through, I go with what's ahead. And we're going to use both, and it's about compromise. And we remember that sort of message that we saw with the Five of Swords. Is it really worth getting worried about? We're going to be using two beautiful decks today. It's all good. We're going to start with the first message here. We've got the Pilgrim. So to me, the Pilgrim is really kind of connected to the energy of the Fool. And it's a chance to sort of go out on your own and do something on your own, okay? So this is a really beautiful message here for many of you that might be wondering, can I do it? Will I do it? Absolutely, you're capable of doing something different, something unique. So I would say for you, follow your heart, as we've talked about earlier, and you may find yourself sometimes at the head of the pack. And the leadership role can sometimes be a little bit discombobulating, a little bit uncomfortable, because there's no one to look to see, like, do you agree with what I'm doing, or does it sound good? It's very much you setting the course, you setting the sort of standard. So know that although leadership can feel a little lonesome sometimes, you're absolutely ready, able, and capable of doing this right now if you allow yourself to. The Pilgrim also is searching for guidance, but what I'm seeing here is that you're kind of like a wise fool. So what I would say with this, if we're combining the two, this would be like a combination of the Hermit card, which has wisdom and is also kind of like a traveler seeking his own path, and then the Fool card, which is sometimes just taking a leap of faith. And I believe the word sophomore is very close to this. I did this as a totem before, where it's kind of like wise fool. So this isn't your first time around the track. You've done this a couple of times. This is this lifetime included. So when I'm looking at this sort of sophomoric pilgrim or wise fool card, what I'm thinking here for you is to trust that you're going to do it better this time. It's going to be a little bit easier this time, that you're going to be able to connect to the higher wisdom and just plug into what needs to be plugged into, okay? So let's take a look at, first of all, a quick reminder that the way that the Catalyst card works is this helps us navigate. It's almost like you're holding a compass in your hand, and this card reminds you which direction to go. So that's how it functions. And like the word catalyst, it can help create a reaction. It can help really make you be more impactful, okay? So you're going to trust in your wisdom. You're going to take a leap of faith, and you're going to trust that the second time or third time around is going to be even better or even sweeter. We got the Moon card, which actually flipped out of the deck as I was shuffling. And for me, the Moon card is a really great instinctive card to come through. So everybody has some level of intuition. If you're watching this channel, you're intuitive. Some of us have kind of like developed that skill a lot more than others. The Moon card is something that I think almost every living creature on the planet has some element of, and it's instinct. It's even like reflexes, knowing that if something's hot, you lift your hand up, you don't want it to burn. Knowing that if you feel like someone's watching you and you turn around, they probably are, you can see who it is. We all have that instinct. So I want you to really lean into the instincts and see if you can actually go a little deeper and access your intuition. The Moon card is showing you that you're being led by the survival instincts, by things that we were just gifted in genetics and DNA. We all have a little bit of it. This month it's going to serve you really well. So when you are sampling new opportunities, when you're sort of like tasting an opportunity, almost as if it was something on a buffet, what I want you to do is to think to yourself, how is it sitting with me? Does it leave a bad taste in my mouth? Like if you've had a conversation with someone and it's really good and you want to talk again, that's great. If you've talked to someone and like days or weeks later, you still hear the words, you still feel the sort of negative energy, then that's someone who isn't worth it. So I want you to trust that energy. This is also a card about being honest and being real. The Moon is a card of revelation. So sometimes we see or know things that we don't want to see or know, but nonetheless, it's there in front of our face, right? So this is a chance for you to decide, am I ready to deal with this? What am I going to do about this? And am I ready to really shift this into the positive? The sort of rhetorical answer to this is, of course you are. And yes, there's some good things that are going to come through for you, but you just have to be ready, willing, and able to do that. It's also a great sign for you. So this, to me, oftentimes can indicate Scorpio energy. So I think that water, of course, we were looking at the heart, and now we see heart-centric energy coming through at the center. Divine feminine, inspiration, it's all pretty good. The Moon wasn't reversed, and right now it's not associated with some other cards that I'm not worried about, whether it's about like honesty or dishonesty. The Moon card can just be intuition, instinct, and passion. So why don't we just leave it at that until I see some other cards, because that's what I'm really getting when I look at the face value of it. On top of it, we do see relationships. We have the Four of Wands. So for some of you, the biggest issue, I did just talk about it a little bit, is trust in new relationships. So in order to really give a firm foundation to the Four of Wands, because it was crossing this, what you'd want to do is talk about hopes and fears and also maybe things in your life that you don't like and don't want. Really be honest. Transparency can help bring the moon to its highest energy. And then you have a really nice firm foundation because the person knows what the parameters are, what you want, what you're looking for, what you like. This is showing that relationships are going to be a central part. They may not be the end-all be-all, but they could be the key, because when something's smack dab, like crossing that center card, what it's really showing you is that this person could be a gatekeeper for you. It's also a really positive energy, as we can see here. It often shows best friendship, marriage, partnership, something that you can trust, something that you can lean on. Don't let something from the past that wasn't ideal get in the way of something that absolutely could be ideal. So talk about the hopes, fears, frustrations, etc., and really kind of let someone come through and show their true colors, whether it's positive or negative, and don't second guess that. You're going to be able to sort it out on an intuitive level, okay? I'm already happy that we went with this deck. There's some beautiful sort of energy. So like I said, everything for a reason. We'll use the other one in just a second, but some beautiful images and beautiful messages. I was meant to go for that one. All right, as we look at the deep past here, we have a waking up card here, the Eight of Swords. The Eight of Swords sometimes can look a little bit scary here. We see someone that is sort of wearing a different skin. Look at this really close. They're wearing an animal skin, right? So for some of us, we are feeling, and also if you look at all the swords, it's almost like they've been hammered in place so that you can't move. The Eight of Swords can be a self-created or self-imposed prison that we devise for ourselves by saying things like, you know, I can never do this, or I'm not good at this, I never have luck with X, Y, or Z. It can also be something that family and friends push around us. Your father did this, therefore you need to do the same family business, or we're depending on you to do this or marry this kind of a person, or make this much money. Pressure, expectations. These are the blocks that I was talking about earlier that are weighing down the heart, that are making you feel this sense perhaps of frustration or lack of fulfillment. So what you're going to do is one by one take those swords out, take off that skin that really wasn't yours, and just be yourself. We do have the Star card. I figured we would, because this is about coming out of that, and this is about being yourself. So once you get through some of the fear, it really brings you into that energy of the Star here, which is fantastic. So how do we overcome the Eight of Swords? First of all, comfort with ambiguity is going to be a key piece to success this month. You're not always going to have everything finally laid out in front of you. It's not going to be black and white. There's not always this little, like a treasure map, like a dotted line from here to where the treasure is. We have to move through this life sometimes feeling like we're blind or feeling like there's unknown, but that can also create positive butterflies, excitement, surprise, good surprise. So the Eight of Swords is just saying, why not prepare yourself for something wonderful, something exciting, something unusual to come across your path. If it's all, there's a character in Neil Gaiman's graphic novel series called The Sandman, and it's Destiny. I believe it's Destiny. And Destiny doesn't, it kind of looks like death. It has a hood. I don't think it has eyes, and if it does, they're blind. But it has this sort of book. Everything's been written out. Destiny knows everything. Destiny's the most boring character in that entire series because there's no surprises for it, and it's also burdened with the knowledge of everything. Did you ever wonder why we come into this particular lifetime with amnesia, and maybe only later are gifted glimpses, not entire chapters, but glimpses into the past? Our soul would be overwhelmed with all of the experiences. We would never be able to look at a person in a different light and mend some of the bridges, because we would be holding on to resentment, passion, expectations, and they couldn't live up to them and we couldn't get past them. So there is something good about being comfortable with the unknown, because you're going to get just what you need. The true sort of destiny energy that comes through is going to give you a page at a time or a word at a time. It wouldn't give you the whole book because there's no excitement, there's no surprise. You don't want to know the ending to a movie before you start it. It's more fun to watch it the second time because then you can look at all of the hints and the foreshadowing, but you still want to go through that experience the first time to see, how is the story? Did I get pulled in? And we always try to get that same sort of energetic high when we go back to a movie or a book or music. And sometimes it does come back if you haven't heard something for a while. You're like, oh, I really like that song. Or when I revisited an old place the other day, I had all kinds of nostalgia. It had been, like I said, 4 or 5 years. And I just thought, oh, that view is beautiful. Oh, the air is so clean. Oh, look at this. And I was like, yeah, you can actually sometimes go back. You can go back sometimes. But what I'm getting at with this one is the element of surprise, the element of forgetting sometimes is good. So embrace that and give yourself a chance to just give it a shot. Try it out. You don't have to have everything in front of you. So don't limit yourself by what you think is possible. Just walk out into the unknown and see what the world prepares for you and gives to you. Okay? So there we go. Pretty deep energy that came through for that. It's not a surprise that both the 9 and the 8 are pretty close together. The 9 of Swords here, we see this woman rising above. I think this is one of the most beautiful 9 of Swords cards. So what she's doing is rising above the negative energies. I know that this is something that I was talking about in the slides earlier, right? So there could be people in your life that are burdened with sadness. There could be people in your life that worry about your possibilities, your capacity, your money, whatever. There could be people in your life that are just not supportive. What you're going to do is bring yourself above that and think that's their experience, that's their truth, that's their snapshot of the world. I'm looking at it with a different lens. I have 2 different lenses for the different views that I have here. And one allows you to see close up, like my hand really close, and it blurs out the background in a way that is a little bit myopic or it's a little bit blurred. There's another one here that's more wide angle. So it kind of depends what you're looking for and where you're looking at. Different people are going to have different takes on it. So I want you to develop your own film, your own view, put on the lenses that work for you, and realize each and every one of us has a different capacity to not just see it, but then compute it and contextualize it. I want you to look a little bit at your sleep habits. That's something that always comes through with the 9 of Swords. So be mindful of, do I have a bad habit of going to bed at midnight? Am I not keeping a sort of like consistent wake and sleep cycle? Am I drinking too much caffeine? Am I eating too close to bedtime? What am I doing to kind of create hiccups in my rest cycle? If you're going to bed and there's a ton of things going through your head, what I do is I make a list. And then I think, enough for tonight. I'll deal with it. I'll just get up early tomorrow. I've done everything energetically that I can do. So make lists. Clear out your head, clear out your sort of sleeping situation. So like your bedroom, making sure that there's no clutter near the bed, turn off the TV or don't have a TV close to bedtime. Put your phone on the charger and put it on Do Not Disturb. Really just clear your head. Otherwise, it just keeps going and going and going. And we want to kind of get you off the hamster wheel, right? All right, let's look at what's going on, speaking of your head, in your head space. We have the Queen of Cups here. And I think there's a really nice connection here with what we see here in the middle. So your center card was the Moon, which is passion and instinct. We have a relationship card right on top of it. And now we have you coming through with Queen of Cups, which is a great way for your energy to show up as well. So as we're looking at this, I would say, are you feeling like you're getting what you want? Because this card was actually in the reverse state. So if you're not happy, if you feel like right now, I'm doing all of this for everyone else, this is your chance to have a mental reset and say, why am I doing all this for everybody else? And one of the other things, because I was seeing that sort of wake and that energy of the heart, is if your heart isn't in it, this is really true of new relationships, even old relationships. But if your heart isn't in it, you owe it to the other person to let them know where they stand and just say, either like you're just getting a friendship vibe, or if it's a friend and they're not being a good friend, say you need some space. Whatever you need, it's important for you to be able to say that to the person, because if you can't say that, really what we're seeing here is that the transparency is missing. True friendship is going to support you sort of saying what you need, especially if you say it in a way that's kind. So you could just kind of like really get what you need to out there, and then get yourself in a position where you're feeling empowered, feeling ready, feeling deserving. There could also be some self-confidence issues that are popping up for you. So saying that not just that you are ready, but you are also willing, able, and deserving of the opportunities that come forth. Let's really kind of like expand your mantra this month. When you say you're ready, are you really ready? I'm ready, and I feel that I deserve it as well. Not in an entitlement way, but in a, I've paid my dues, and so when it comes to me, this opportunity, this love, this experience, I'm going to embrace it because I have, on a soul level, cashed in and paid, and I'm ready now. So really feel that preparedness, that readiness, that deservedness. It's there, but there's a little bit of lack based on what I'm seeing up here. All of this soul work that we're talking about brings you to the super powerful star card. One of my favorite. This is probably my favorite, not my favorite star card, but like this is my favorite card in tarot because I love stars. I love the sort of connection that this represents because everything here, we're all stardust. I actually have a little tea mug and coffee mug that has we're all made of stars, or we're all stardust. And that's very true. Everything on this planet is constituted from the remains of a star. But we're also kind of like that eternal energy of the star burning brightly. So when I see this card, it tells me that you're at a point in your life where you're ready to step into your power. And the blocks that we just talked about are the only things holding you back from this beautiful gateway of opportunity on the horizon, okay? This can also be connected to an Aquarius in your life as well. But what I would say here is that for you, there's a really big stepping out or coming out or visibility opportunity for you. But in order for you to be powerful and effective, you have to believe that there's something there to love. There's something there that's worthy. And there is, you know that, right? So I want you to feel really at ease with who you are, with what you want, with what you're doing. And when you feel the ease, when you feel that sort of sense of, I'm in the flow, then things keep coming to you. People are going to be naturally drawn to you because you're relaxed and you're effective and you're strong and you're kind of confident. When you think of certain people in your life that kind of have that gravitas walking into the room, sometimes they're just, it can be a boss, it can be a parent, a matriarch, patriarch of the family, but there's certain people in your life that just come in and command attention. You're being set up to have that sort of energy, but the blocks that I talked about earlier are going to be important. Not being able to see everything and being guaranteed that everything's going to work, but just trusting. Not being forced to wear someone else's sort of like snake skin. You've got your own skin. You're going to shed that and you're going to be who you're going to be. And not being afraid of what happened before, that it's going to happen again. When we go into the root, we extract it and we sort of clear out the energy. This is a new cycle. So you're being asked to be yourself. You're being asked to be more visible. You might be put on the hot seat, but you're going to do a great job. You're going to shine. All right? Great energy for you. You could also be pulling in a really deep soul partnership. So if we take a look one more time at the desk here, what I see here at the center, you have a lot, you're coming through very strongly here, right at the center. A lot of water energy. We see a new partnership or relationship coming through. And if it is someone new, then it's a really deep partnership. Remember, of course, that this doesn't have to just be sex and passion. When we look at relationships, it's also business relationships. It's also, your familial connections and all of that. So there's a chance to really develop a deep connection with someone. And as we look at relationships in the expanded forecast, we'll go a little deeper into that. Okay. So you're showing up pretty well here as well. When I look at your heart and soul, which is what this whole reading is about, we have the Page of Wands. The Page of Wands, we see someone here really being able to make things happen, and they do it through action and demonstration and nonverbal sort of communication. So pages are really key conduits for communication. Not everything has to be spelled out. So a big portion and a big component of your ability to make a splash this month is walking the walk. So you can talk a big talk, but if you can really show up with the goods, that's what people care about. So I think many of you are going to be able to just show it, like basically demonstrate your capacity. And at that point, people really don't have a choice but to observe it. So these two cards in rapid succession are fortuitous, basically. This is you showing up and surprising them. This is people willing and ready to sort of consume and celebrate whatever it is you have to offer. They're vibing with your ideas. So if you feel like you're not a great communicator, first of all, give yourself more credit. You can also work with somebody if you need help in either writing or communicating it, but people are also more interested in seeing the person behind the ideas. So a lot of times, even if there is a shiny presentation, you'll still want to bring up the development or the engineering team to talk about it, even if it's highly technical. It's exciting to understand and see the sort of like behind the scenes view of this. So let people into your process a little bit. Let them know how you arrived at something. Show the gears a little bit and get behind the smoke and mirrors a bit. And this is going to help people understand that this is grounded in reality. So this is really good for those of you that are professional or students or trying to help people see things from a different perspective, because I do see that aha moment coming through for you. And that's kind of exciting, isn't it? All right, let's take a look and see what's going on around you. We have the 10 of Pentacles. So this card also came up yesterday when I was reading for Libra. I'm feeling pretty good about all of the opportunities that are availing themselves to the different signs this month. So this is in your environment. The 7 of Swords here means you got to watch out because someone else might be competing for that. But let's talk first about the 10 of Pentacles. Opportunity could come from friends, from family, from a casual conversation. I want you to make sure that you're working on your networking skills because 10 of Pentacles is the king of that particular sort of skill set. So definitely, even if you're not sort of physically getting out there because of pandemic constrictions and restrictions, I would say it's okay. Be doing virtual meetings, take some coffees and lunches with people. Like just one-on-one stuff is going to be important here. But in the environment, I see a lot of opportunities, a lot of resources, and it's really a matter of, are you ready and willing to put yourself out there and to share what you have and what you want with others? They'll be willing to invest. There's going to be interest. There's options. If you've been looking for a job, for those of you that are unemployed, there's a lot of competition, but I feel like you have a great shot. I want you to be really, one thing that's coming through with whatever opportunity avails itself is that honesty is so important. So now we have the 7 of Swords. By the way, there's some construction in the background, so if you hear that, apologies. But 7 of Swords coupled with the Moon is a warning. It's basically saying, don't think you can get away with something. If you do something that is a little bit shady or a little bit not to the letter of the law, there may be some stipulations, there may be some repercussions for that. So make sure that you are doing everything to code, basically, as expected. And know that if somebody tries to get away with something themselves, it's very unlikely that they will, and that you will actually come out shining here. Karma has a way of basically balancing out the scales here. So there is some sort of like tricky energy in the periphery here, but I don't see it succeeding. I'm really optimistic when I look at this particular 7 of Swords. I also love how we see this sort of like dinosaur or lizard and the what is it? I think it's a fox here trying to get away with this, or a wolf. It's not going to happen. It's really not going to happen. You're going to see true colors, and other people will see true colors too. So be on the right side of history if you are set up for something like that, and just avoid it altogether. The fact that you're watching this, you're going to be able to avoid making the mistake that other person might make as well. So one little tripping point, but you have a really positive sort of flow of energy. And let's look at your outcome card and see where this is all setting you up to kind of go. So we have the beautiful Queen of Wands here in the outcome. And this, first of all, you know I love Queen of Wands. It is probably my favorite court card because it's the magic card. This one we see the magic of destruction and creation because we have a goddess representing the Hawaiian Pele. And we have a volcano behind her, and Pele is basically this lovely fire goddess that gives and takes, as you can tell. Like, so whenever lava flows, it's going to destroy things, but it also extends all of the island chains. So it's necessary for the continued growth and abundance of Hawaii. So that's why they kind of worship and kind of like also know that this is a goddess that you don't want to mess with. So the Queen of Wands means that you are a force to be reckoned with. It means that you have the ability to both create and destroy, but also rise above the ashes. What better indication for that sort of bounce back capability than Pele? So if you've failed, if you've hit some bad luck, if it's been a rough year, if it's been a rough month or a rough week, it's not going to keep being like that. You're at a point right now where you're going to use your fire and passion and you're going to push it in a different direction. When you push it in a different direction and when you start to see a return on that, it gets exciting and you become more sort of like emboldened. And I think that's really the important thing here. And it may take just, I talk about the Four of Cups sometimes. It's like the universe just wanting us to look in that direction just a little bit. It's almost, it wants to push us, but we have to do it here and here. So with this Queen of Wands, it's the same sort of energy. You're being asked to just shift your perspective over here and just use some of that fire and energy on something else. Don't waste another thought. Don't waste another tear. Don't waste another second on something where it doesn't give back or where it just makes you feel less than. You are so much more than that. So this is the, basically, yeah, it's a card of bouncing back and rising above. So I'm excited to see what can come forth when you really kind of surrender to that power. Just generally speaking about the Queen of Wands, she's really good at managing things. It's a good card if you need to take on the mantle of project or product manager or account manager. Put anything before it, manager, and you're really capable with that. It's also good for organizing your life. The card isn't reversed, so with this, I would say you can do it with equal success, managing your life, managing others. But whenever I see a Queen card, I just remind people to take care of themselves first and foremost and allow people to come in and ask for the help. Because it's not always your role, responsibility, or even what you're being called to do to sort of like fix other people. Sometimes they have to go through all those sort of like cycles and experiences themselves, okay? But we're really setting you up this month, Scorpio, to be powerful. And who could ask for anything more? I think that's amazing. We're going to expand your forecast now. We're going to take a look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. Each one of these cards helps us sort of contextualize or recontextualize some of what we saw. So we'll be revisiting some of the cards as well as looking at the oracle cards. Give me a second to drink, and then we're going to look at your health card first. All right. I always like to remind folks before I begin with health that you are basically the captain of your own ship here. So if anything doesn't feel right in your body, if you feel like you need assistance, go to the proper person to do that. Suffice it to say, I'm here to help you with energy and opportunities, but you need to go to professionals if there's anything going on in your body. All right, with that being said, let's take a look at what the energy is saying about you this month here when it comes to health, mind, body, and spirit, by the way. So we have a card here that's absolutely showing what's possible when you put your mind to it. We're seeing what looks like a vortex right around the third eye, and the card was reversed. So for some of you, and we have the card here that matches my shirt. I always have one. But we have a vortex of energy that for some of you, you've had sort of like stormy thoughts, sort of like, I would even say like heavy energy around your emotions and maybe even your third eye. So if there has been a fog or a cloud around your intuition, this is a chance to lift yourself above that. So let's say that you're on the sort of like rebound of a breakup, or you've just exited a really difficult working situation, or you graduated from school, and you're in that sort of haze afterwards where it feels like, okay, that was a lot, and I thought I knew who I was and where I was going, but I'm not sure. Ground yourself. Really take a moment to not focus on what other people are doing, what other people are expecting, how far you haven't come. Focus instead on what it is you're trying to do and what it is you want to do, and pull those two things together so that you can start to manifest. Because some of you might just be manifesting fog. We don't need a fog machine. We don't need chaos. We don't need to also pull in lessons of fear or anxiety. We're going to instead put you into the powerful energy of Two of Wands, of High Priestess, and most of all, the goddess Pele here in the Queen of Wands. We're going to put you in the active role. So that's it. It's just changing perspective in what I can do, what I want to do, and what I will do, right? So healthy perspective and a clear focus. I think if you can just focus on a clear expectation, That's going to be key. Whether it's to get healthier, if you're trying to eat cleaner, if you're trying to work out more, whether it's relationship oriented, where you want to really work on having better communication with someone or whatnot, whatever it is, get the goal in mind so that your body and your energy can fuel it, just like that volcano, okay? Let's take a look at the cards and see some additional messages that might be coming through with respect to health. So the Pilgrim card indicates the importance of doing something that you love, starting something new, also taking a walk, exploring things a little bit. So definitely be open to that if that's what your calling is here. The one block that I'm seeing here that we can't avoid here is the Queen of Cups reversed. So for many of you, it's just important, I would say even essential for you to really feel emotionally stable. And the things that could be kind of putting you in an emotionally uncertain or unstable sort of place could be, again, a lack of comfort with ambiguity. It could be a lack of sleep. It could be just a relationship that came in and kind of like put in a topsy-turvy energy where you're not used to dealing with someone else in your space. All of those things can be managed. The important thing here is authenticity. The Star card is the key as well. And people in your life, you can lean on other people that will really be there. Think of the folks that have been there through thick and thin, and at this point, connect with them again. That's something I've been doing lately, is sort of reconnecting with some of the folks that I've known for a long, long time. Not just someone who's known me for the last couple years, but people that have been there the whole journey through, because you know they're going to be there no matter how the Star card sort of ends up being. Spiritual journey with the Star, focusing on meditation, focusing on things like yoga, on just doing anything in your life that brings you a closer connection to source. This also includes art, music, dance, all of that. Express yourself basically with this. The most important sort of thing that could stand in the way for you is, are you ready to see it and believe it? Kind of like what I was talking about a little bit earlier. The Five of Swords and the Seven of Swords, always sister or cousin cards, they're going to show up. So this Seven of Swords is saying, are you being honest with yourself? It can be the lie that we tell to ourselves, particularly when it comes to health. We could be trying to push something under the rug. I really don't feel that, or it's not that important, or I'll quit tomorrow, or whatever it is. This one is saying, no, write it down and keep a contract with yourself and actually follow through. When I decided to change careers, I had someone in my life that pushed me a little bit, that reminded me of the importance of that portal of opportunity. They said it's not going to always be there. And I really felt the immediacy of that. It was equated to like a connecting flight. If you miss it, you could be laid over. You could actually just not be able to go to that destination. That really shook me to my core, and I'm like, no, I want to go to the destination. I'm going to circle. What I did was I circled a date on the calendar, and I just kept it. On that day, I handed in my letter of resignation. And there were several more steps after that I had to do, but I felt very free and a little scared and a little bit dizzy and a little uncertain and a little vertigo, all that stuff, but I kept the date with destiny. So the Seven of Swords is asking you to keep your date with destiny. Don't walk away. Exciting things will happen when you keep the date with destiny, all right? But you've got to decide what you want to do, and you have to show up. And I literally had to write I had to write it down. I, Nicholas Ashbaugh, hereby give you my 2 weeks resignation. And I had to sign it. It was a contract. There's something very, I guess, important about that. We don't do it with everything, but if we did it on other things, you would say like, I, insert your name, will do this year or by this date. And then sign it and see how you look at that contract on your fridge and see if you're fulfilling the contract. It will help possibly, okay? You could also have someone in your life that can help you with accountability if you need it. All right, so we just looked at health. Now we're going to move along to wealth. Wealth is not just money. It's how you feel about yourself, self-confidence. It's resources around you. It's life purpose. So it's a lot deeper. Let's see what it is. I think I just talked about it without really thinking about it, but it says discipline. I can accomplish what I set my mind to. Amen to that. I mean, we can also just look at the Pele card here as well, the Queen of Wands. Yes, you can literally move mountains here with this sort of energy, but you have to kind of do the work. So discipline is everything when it comes to wealth and accomplishment in your life right now, okay? So I'm saying it in a loving way, but are you ready? Are you truly ready and committed to get what you want, to go where you want to go? Because if you are, then you're going to start to see progress. If you just want it, but you're saying it casually, maybe it'll come, maybe it won't, maybe it'll come tomorrow, maybe it'll come next week. It can be so much more effective when you say, I'm going to do it, full stop, period. And here's how. So I really want you to be disciplined about it and work at it a little bit each day. And one thing that I've been doing in 2022 is just more exercise. It was something that I think a lot of us in the pandemic fell short of. So for me, it was just kind of like having a chance to get out there and experience things. And I'll show you a couple pictures. I was taking a hike the other day and it was just beautiful. And there was one in particular where I could see all the way to the ocean, which for, like sometimes we just lose perspective and sometimes just don't realize how beautiful our environment is. And this was a moment for me where I just thought, gosh, it's so beautiful. Well, here, actually, I'll just show you a little bit of the hike that I took the other day. There's a few canyons in LA that are just gorgeous, and Runyon Canyon and Griffith Park, and there's a ton, and this is one of them. And I just took a moment yesterday to really get out there and see what was possible. And it also kind of like reinvigorated me, and I thought, yeah, we got to do more of this, more outside stuff. I do a lot of outside walks because I just feel like it's amazing to sort of see the world around you. And that was a moment where I just thought, gosh, this is beautiful. So I don't like going to the gym, but I love going outside. So I take lots and lots of walks, sometimes with my dog, sometimes without, and it just feels really good. So that's how I got inspired. I needed to get inspired. Me going to a gym where a bunch of people have their headphones on and there's like CNN and sports in the top, that's not inspiring to me. But going outside and seeing what I just showed you, that's inspiring to me. Seeing nature. So to get your discipline, think about what it is that creates that sense of joy in your life. Seeing something like this is a lot more inspiring to me than watching someone check themselves out in the mirror, right? Working out. So find a way to find your inspiration. If you like this, go to my Instagram. I have a little video of it and you can see it there, okay? So, by the way, if you're not following me on Instagram, you should. I do put little slice of life, things like that occasionally. So in addition to little snippets as well, I can't really put them here, but I do it there. So follow me on Instagram. You can see some of that stuff. Okay. So let's look at the cards and see where you can get disciplined and where some great opportunities might come through. All right. So if we take a look, and by the way, all my social handles are right here, and I pinned a link earlier. All right. So where can you be disciplined? Well, first of all, a lot of you have opportunities all around you. So the 10 of Pentacles to me shows me that there may be people in your environment that have the keys to success. Maybe they own their own business. Maybe there's a teacher that can be a mentor. There's someone right in the periphery that actually could be a really great sort of inspiration for you. So tap into that resource. One of the important things for you is to use an authentic vision, voice, and approach. The Star card is interesting because it's different. So when we think of artists, there are two ways that they can make it mainstream. One is to be kind of like vanilla, predictable, kind of boring. And they're not the ones that we remember over time. Then there's people that stand out and they create a new soundscape or a new visual sort of like landscape if they're an artist. We remember those folks because they're the oddballs and they do something that strikes a chord. They may mix elements from the past, but they do it in a way that's unique. So for you to really be successful, tap into the resources around you and be unique and really go into the things that move you and scare you. There's a reason when we listen to music, we'll vibe with this for a second, that so many songs are about love. It's universal. People can, when they really put their heart out there and talk about what they want or who's kind of like broken their heart, those sort of songs are really easy to access because we've been through disappointment, because people have mistreated us, because any number of things. So just really being honest and being unique, that's going to set you up for success. There's a time and a place for all of that, obviously, but I feel like that authenticity is a key piece. But people are the main thing here that can not only help you learn the next thing, but also help you be disciplined. So this could be a partner that you're going to work with. This could be someone that you could learn from. Fear and anxiety over what was, fear and anxiety over like what people will think when you break their expectations, all of that's part of it. One of the questions I get from people a lot is like, oh, I bet your friends and family are always asking you questions. No, they don't. My old, like people that have known me since I was a kid or from like 20 years ago, they don't talk to me about my work. We just hang out because that's a different part of my life. I don't talk to them about their jobs all the time. They may if they have like an experience. They know I'm a safe person to talk to about spirituality, but it's not every conversation. So you're more than just that. And I want you to kind of know, like, when I decided to walk this new path and I talked to them about it, they're like, oh, that's cool. Are you happy? Are you doing well? That's all they really care about. Some people that are like naturally interested in esoteric or metaphysics, they'll ask questions. But most people, it's just like if you're an accountant or an artist or whatever. So true friends and family, whatever. It's sort of just one more thing. It is unusual, but nobody's rejected me. So that's the cool thing, because they know me and they know anything that I do, I'd put my heart and soul into. So be yourself, be true to you, and just put yourself out there. And I think that's going to be the key to success. Let me see if there's anything else, and we'll get into the next piece. If there's anyone in your life that is acting less than authentically, then this is a chance to cut ties with them for sure. If you're not happy, if you're not in it, say it. And if you need to do it yourself, do it yourself. I'm a big fan of entrepreneurial approaches and energy, so the Queen of Wands is absolutely reminding you that you can do it, okay? So good messages overall. If you are looking for work or for opportunities, I see that there are people around you that can open the doors. It may not be obvious to you. Just make sure that you don't put anything that isn't true on your resume or on LinkedIn. Don't talk it up too much. Be honest. I mean, put your best foot forward and definitely give it the best wrapping and shellacking that you can, but always say the truth. And if you catch someone that isn't being truthful, this is a big red flag as well. All right, let's move on to the next component. So we just worked with health and wealth. We're going to look at love. Love is with a capital L, not a little l, and that means that it's all relationships, not just passion. As a reader, I care about your person, but I care more about where you're at, because I can help you. I can't necessarily help your person unless they're watching their videos. So that's one differentiating point in mind. I'm going to help you with from your point of view and understanding what's going on around you. We're going to look at it in 3 different perspectives. For those of you in a relationship, I'll help you see what's going on in the relationship. For those of you looking for love, I'll help you see if you're ready and if there's any blocks and who might be coming through. And for those that are single and happy, I'm still going to tell you what's going on with the people around you, but in a different context. If you are in a relationship, there are some things coming to the surface. Even if you've been with someone for like 20 years or even like 1 year, you may think you know a lot, but all of a sudden, little things start to pop up. So what I would do is talk about them sooner than later. You have 2 really great outcome cards. So this is near future and this is the final outcome. So this tells me that by exposing or by revealing or being vulnerable, this sort of like part of your life, then you actually deepen the connection. So the star to me is a lot more powerful than the moon because it just shines brighter. It's an actual source of energy. So share and show who you are. Let that person really see you. Don't be afraid. Don't try to get away with something. That's the only thing that could kind of like get in the way, is hiding something. So be honest, be transparent, and trust that it's going to bring you to a better position. I see friendship deepening right now if you're in an existing relationship. You or your partner, however, seem to be emotionally sort of like dealing with a lot. So give them time and space. Ask for time and space if you need it. Show how you feel if you're not really good with communicating. Just show it. That is another way to kind of put it out there. But definitely there's a trust or a secret issue that kind of needs to come to the surface, but all the other cards support where you're headed. So by the way, it looks like one or both of you are doing pretty well when it comes to resources. Maybe you're building a strong sort of community connection as well, because the 10 of Pentacles isn't just money, it's people around you. So there's a lot to like this month, but you have to talk about things honestly. Without the honesty, then it's a house of cards and everything collapses. If you're if you're looking for love right now, well, you might already be stumbling upon it. It could happen a lot sooner than you expect with the 4 of Wands. It could be someone who really surprises you because I think you're very similar. There's a similar energy, and that could create some issues because you're both very passionate and it's a different kind of stubbornness. So working past that could be one challenge for new relationships coming through. This could be a really deep soul connection. The 4 of Wands and the star put together for new love. Wow, that's deep, that's intense. So keep your balance, keep true to yourself. Don't worry so much about what others think, because 7 of Swords and 10 of Pentacles together here could be a fear of what people say or do. Remembering, again, what I talked about with real friends, they're going to show their true colors. You're going to be able to sort out who's who, and you're not going to worry about the people that just are not showing up the way they need to. There also could be a strong fire sign on the horizon, and it looks passionate. It looks exciting. This could be you, this could be them. But sometimes fire and water don't always mix, so just give yourself time and space to kind of sort things out. But I see a deep soul connection that's going to make this next experience really exciting. For you, again, making sure that you're not trying to do what others expect you to do, making sure that you're not giving a lot of energy to fears, and focusing on trusting your instincts. All of those things will help elevate new relationships in your life. If you're single and happy, the big opportunity for you actually comes in career. We have a breakout moment here with the star. We have a lot of opportunity with the 10 of Pentacles. We have actually a leadership role in the future for you. And the main thing that you have to do is pay attention to people that are fair weather friends or coming in to just try to get one thing. There's a little test across the board for all of your signs, Scorpio, but you're going to be able to sort it out because this is a highly intuitive card, and so is this. So you're going to be able to see true colors this month. Now, when we relate it to the Bat Spirit card, the Bat Spirit, let's look at this up close. It says, rebirth is assured. The interesting thing with the bat is, what is it? It's the Hanged Man. And the Hanged Man is basically encouraging you to not rush through something and also not stick with something eternally. So it's sort of an annoying message, but this is what I would say to you. If it's worth the fight, if it's worth the work, stick it out a little bit, stick with it. And the Hanged Man is showing you that you need to learn all your lessons before graduating on to the next thing. So leave things in a nice, clean and clear path when you're finished with a relationship or an engagement, especially if you're quitting a job. We talked about that a little bit earlier. And so make sure that everything's clean and clear. When Odin was hanging upside down, he waited until he got the knowledge and he was patient. So patience pays off. The Hanged Man can also indicate holding on long after you've learned what you needed to, holding on when you know you shouldn't. So it really depends on you and why you need to hold on or why you're holding on. But ultimately, we see rebirth here and an opportunity to see things from a different point of view because the bat's upside down, but it's comfortable for the bat. So look at it from the other person's perspective and look at it from a different point of view, and I think that's going to be important as well. Let's move on now to your destiny card. We have the sea turtle here. The sea turtle is sort of like an oxymoron. It can move pretty fast. I've actually used this particular animal for totems before, so it's not going to be like a rocket ship underwater, but it does swim quickly. And unlike, I believe, a terrestrial sort of turtle, I don't think it can pull those flippers in. So a terrestrial turtle can pull most of its body parts in, but I think with the sea turtle, the fins are difficult to retract. Maybe the head can come in, but I don't think the rest can. So anyway, when we're looking at this, you can't really go back in your shell is what I'm getting at with the sea turtle. And that's the whole purpose here this month, is to come out of your shell. So, and to fly, to see things start to move, okay? This is also a really great card to connect to the world, because in a lot of world religions, they kind of envision the whole earth being on top of a turtle, right? So if I had to pick a card in tarot to connect the sea turtle with, it would be the world. And I think in the deck that I'm using, it's also King of Pentacles, but I'm going in my own sort of like totem connections, and I would think it's the world. So that tells me, again, you're only going to go further when you're ready. So the star is step one, that's being authentic, being seen. The world is letting even more people in on that. Are you ready for that? I don't know. Hopefully you are, because it's a very positive opportunity and a positive message. As promised, I'm going to use the other deck to pull the other cards so we get a nice mix of the two. So 1 second. All right, so we're going to use the Wildwood Tarot now for all the additional pieces that I'm going to look at. So everybody gets to win. And I'm actually really happy that even if it wasn't the winner, that we went with Divine, Tarot of the Divine, because the cards were perfect for you. Nothing's an accident. So here's where we've been. We've been through the Channeled Messages, the Celtic Cross, and we just finished up the Expanded Forecast. I'm going to pull a single card now for the big idea. And what is the big idea, you ask? The big idea is something that's going to help us focus on overarching opportunities. What should you really sort of be putting your energy into? What should you be investing into this month? All right, so we have the Page of Wands, and we just got this. So interesting. This is the cool thing about using a different deck to kind of look at stuff. When I get repetition of messages, we know it's important. So the Page of Wands was reversed. And what I would say with this card in reverse is, for some of you, you could be overthinking something when it comes to something that's just very simple. Don't make an easy thing complicated. I was actually just talking about this yesterday with a family member about the oddity of language, right? We have sometimes 15 different ways to say the same word. And I remember in English class, one of my professors saying, if you can say it simpler and more concisely, do it. A big word doesn't make you smart. Your sort of overarching clarity of the message, that's what's going to make it more effective. There are times when you might want to have it sound a little more flowery, but you never want to do it at the expense of clarity. Sometimes when you're reading a newspaper article, you'll see this. They'll throw out a word that you have to look up, and you know they could have used a different word, and it's not even the best word. It could just be someone that's deciding to flex their vocabulary. I would expect it in certain types of periodicals and newspapers, but in a sort of regional or city one, not so much. You want clarity. You want to report the news with clarity. So my background is journalism, and I minored in English, so I like both. There's a time and a place for concise language. I used to work in marketing and public relations as well. So there's time, like basically public relations was what I called choppy copy, where you would just chop it up in small pieces and make it really, really small and concise and make it fit into like 5 seconds. You'd have to get the core of it. But there's something to be said for that. So for you, simplify. Simplify for the audience. Don't dumb it down, but get concise. And I think that's going to be key. And show what needs to be shown. Because I'm getting a lot of nonverbal cues when it comes to your communication. So sometimes there's a reason at the beginning I put up slides. There's a reason that I work with the cards. The visual components are kind of like cementing factors. They glue in the message. So show people what you're trying to do, and then do what you were trying to do, and then show it again. That repetition is where your power is going to be. So that's it. Don't overcomplicate it. If you know what you want to do it. If something's been kind of like delivered to you and you feel like it's right, go with it. That's kind of how magic and energy and manifestation works. It just works. So go with that. All right. That's my main message with this. Don't overthink. Keep an open mind. That's the only thing that I would say with the Page of Wands in reverse. You definitely want to make sure that you're listening and you're opening up to what's being said and what's being shown to you. Okay. You also got it here showing up as yourself. So you already have what it takes. Don't overthink it. All right, so let's move on to the next piece. We're going to look at blessings and blocks. Just like the sound of construction in the background, blessings and blocks allows us to deconstruct and look at opportunities. So with the blessings, we're going to really put more energy towards that. With the blocks, we're going to decide to invest a little bit less, or we're going to break them down or transmute them. So let's take a look and see what's coming through. I like to pull both at once here, and then we'll take a look here. So for blessings, we have the Page of Vessels or Page of Cups. And for blocks, we have the Six of Wands, which is actually a great card. All right, so let's focus first on blessings. Well, this is you coming through again. Cups, you showed up in a good way this month. So I've got tons of water, Scorpio, for you. And with this, there's no exception. Most of your power cards and most of your court cards, at least as I'm looking here at this expanded portion here, are reversed. So I would say with this, you're being asked to prioritize yourself. So putting yourself forward, putting yourself first, so that anything that you're entering into, you know that you're really going to enjoy it, that you're really invested in it. If you're not feeling it, don't do it. So it's actually a blessing if your heart says no. It might be frustrating because on paper it looks good, but it's a blessing because your heart knows. Going way back to the original slides with the mott measuring your soul against, or your heart against the feather. Your heart just gets to the bottom of things. So if you are on a first date, if you're on a first interview for a job, if you are trying something on in a fitting room and you just feel like, this isn't it. Everyone else likes it, but I don't. That's okay. Listen to your heart. The internal rejection that you're making is protection against an experience that would be ultimately unfulfilling. So we want the page to be upright. We want the cup to be upright. We have the otter on this particular deck, which is about being playful. So don't deny yourself fun. Have some fun. Have a little bit of levity. Have a sense of humor. All of these things are going to help as well. All right, moving on to the next piece. We just looked at the blessing. Now we're going to look at the block. Your block card here is the Six of Wands. And the Six of Wands card also reversed. Again, as we're looking at this expanded forecast, there's a few reversals. But we have what's basically a bounty and an expectation and a celebration set up, and it's just waiting for you to show your face there. So this is arguably one of the coolest Six of Wands cards that I've seen. Normally, we would see someone riding in on a horse. We would see people behind them or around them, paying attention to them, taking pictures. Today, the Six of Wands would be like paparazzi probably, and a star kind of pushing it back. But in the time that this was made, it would be someone riding in on a horse like a knight and people applauding and looking at them. So for you, what I like about the Six of Wands is it's not about any of that artifice. What we're really focusing on is I've set up a place where I'm doing it because it feels right, and I'm not waiting for what's popular, who's popular to come to my table. I'm attracting the right kind of people at the right time. I'm really setting up the stage for maybe it's a niche success, but it's a really authentic one. The truth of the matter is this authenticity that we're talking about here with both the star and also with the Six of Wands, it actually might mean that you have more popularity than you think you will because you're striking a chord. So do something because it's right, not because it's what's expected. You may have to push back. So why is it in the block? Because your boss may say, I didn't ask you to do that. Because your mom or dad may say, I thought you were going to study this and not that. Because your best friend or the people around you are like, why are you hanging out with this person? I thought you were, that's not your type or whatever. If it is what you wanted, if it is what you feel, then you're going to push right back and say, no, this is me and this is making me happy and I'm going to be successful on this. So the block is the pressure, the societal, the familial, the sort of peer pressure that could come in. But your strength is you know that if you do it and it's right, people will eventually come. If you build it, they will come. And so it's a block that's actually a blessing in disguise. And your blessing is really also a blessing in disguise, which is that a rejection is internal rejection of something or someone is protecting you from an experience that would not be to your liking. So if you don't want to do something, don't. If you do want to do something, do. Either way, there's a little bit of surprise from people around you, but that's just you being authentic, right? Good. And it reminds me of Wicked, that song Popular. It's not about being popular, and the one who's the most popular in the play is not really the good witch per se. So be that as it may. Let's move on to the next piece. We're going to take a look now at the viewers and readers' choice. This is a chance for you to also vote, and I'll make sure today that I wait an extra minute. Sometimes it's just a little bit delayed when I'm doing this, so be patient. I'm actually like on a 1.5 minute delay from what you're doing, so sometimes things change, just so you know. I have a little monitor on the side, and I'm working with a slight delay just because of the way things stream. All right, so let's go ahead now and put out a viewer's choice poll for you. And I'll take a look at the table as we're doing this, just so we can see some stuff here. So what I'd like to look at as we're taking a look at everything here, I'm really curious about the Seven of Swords. There are a few swords cards here that were coming through with the Seven of Swords, the Eight of Swords, and the Nine of Swords. So really just kind of like dealing with any of the fear or frustration in your life, I think is going to be key here. So working through uncertainty would be one piece that I'd like to look at. Another one would be dealing with honesty/transparency. Another one would be walking the walk, because I think all of those are important. And I'm going to look at discipline because I feel like that's a really interesting one. So feel free to take a a look at these and vote for what feels best to you. And as you do that, or while you do that, I'm going to shuffle the cards here, and I want to take a look at how you can become disciplined and really become much more effective at whatever it is that wants to come through for you. All right, so we have the Three of Cups. Love this card. Let's pull this a little closer and help you see what's coming through for this. So Three of Cups, celebration, openness, happiness. And I would say here, the one thing that could be getting in the way of your discipline is having too much fun or peer pressure. So like for whatever reason, as I was pulling the big idea, blessings blocks, and now the viewer's choice or my reader's choice, these cards are coming through reversed, even though the rest were not. But what I'm going to say with this is this represents a click when the card is reversed. Upright, it's good news, it's celebration. But reversed, it's a click. So, and it can also be people around you that want to sort of disrupt you. So be careful of people that are kind of like frenemies, where they step in and when they see you're on something, they try to sabotage it. So if there's an external saboteur, an internal saboteur, you want to avoid that. If there are people that pressure you again, I don't know what's going on with peer pressure this month or external optics or expectations, but you're just going to move past it. What I like about this card is that there could be a third party or an unexpected point of view that could come in and actually help you out. So you want to avoid the folks in your life that are in a clique or very restrictive or very sort of cliquish. You want to instead kind of embrace someone who could bring in an outsider perspective. This could actually help you. So working with an expert and someone that could really champion and celebrate the successes as you're moving through it, that's the key to success. But avoid excess with this too. So this is drinking too much, partying too much, staying up too late, having too much fun. I want you to have some fun, but if you're going to be disciplined, make some time every day. And, you can just circle a time on the calendar, circle a date. Certain days are going to be dedicated to the sort of like opportunity at hand. Okay? Let's take a look and see what's in the lead here. I feel pretty darn good about this, working through uncertainty at 61%. I'm going to wait for the poll to end to make sure that nothing comes through as a dark horse in the background, but let's see what's coming through for navigating uncertainty, if it wins. All right, so working through uncertainty, 60%. Nothing's going to come through and surprise us on that one. So how can you deal with ambiguity? So it's the Eight of Swords that was really bringing this through a little bit. The unknown, I'm sure that's part of the reason that we're all here is dealing with the unknown. Finally, we have an upright card in this particular connection. And it's you. And it's the first time we've gotten divine masculine energy like this. The King card is coming through. So we have the King of Cups. And I would say for you, it's to really allow things to come to you. There is a passive energy with kings that we don't always talk about. So if you're too sort of, I don't want to use the word needy, but that's kind of what's coming through. If you want something too much, let's put it that way. If you rush through something, if you are so in sort of like the energetic emotion of it that you're not just letting it flow, you could block something that wants to come your way. So when I'm looking at this particular King of Cups card, it's really just saying, I'm going to let things come to me. And also, there is an element of air because it's a heron card, right? So it's able to actually get up a little bit. So I was showing you some of the pictures and movies from my hike the other day. Get a different vista or viewpoint on something and really sit with it for a little bit. Let your emotions mature because of all the different sort of cards that could have come through. This is the ultimate card when it comes to knowing yourself and being okay and feeling the way you feel. So like if you really, really want something, just be okay with it. I feel like this is it. Comfort and confidence are a big component of that card as well. All right. And one other interesting thing as I'm looking at this and really connecting it to how can I deal with change and the unknown, this is very much like temperance. 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Just take the first step. Just get your foot wet, right? When you were a little kid, I don't know if you've ever kind of like dealt with dipping your foot in the pool a little bit and you were like, or if you've been at the ocean, is it cool? Is it warm? And then sometimes someone just gets behind you and pushes you in, and then you deal with it. We kind of need the first step. You may also need someone to kind of give you that extra nudge, but you're going to be fine. Take the first step is really what I see. Give yourself time before you decide that that's what you want or don't want. That was why we also got like that bat spirit. Really be with it for a second or two and sense it out. All right? All right. So let's take a look at where we are and what's coming through next. Okay, so we've pretty much been through like 80% of the reading. We just have a couple of pieces left. We're going to look at your final card here in just a couple moments. First, we'll do a meditation and a sound bath. Before we get into that, I know that some of you are here for the first time. So if you are, before you do anything, but definitely before we meditate, brand new viewers, please hit the subscribe. It's the same as follow. It will help you see when I do new videos. Sometime over the next few days, I'm going to do an impromptu. It depends on when I feel like it, but I definitely have some things that I want to look at with you. So you'll get a notification of things like that when you subscribe. Hit the like button if you haven't already. I think we're doing pretty okay as far as likes go. We're at about 200, so thank you. I always like to try to get over half, and we are pretty much over half, so thank you. If you'd like more information on when I go live, you can look at my pinned comment, and you can also follow me on social media to see some of those cool pictures on Instagram, etc. And if you'd like to give back with super stickers or super chats, you can do that right now. All right, let's talk about the meditation. So before we do this, write down whatever question you might have for me that I haven't had a chance to look at. This will be your chance to dig a little bit deeper and see something from a different perspective. And I'll also kind of see what the overarching opportunity is for Scorpio as I do that. And then let's get ready for working with the energy of fire, actually. We're going to work with Pele here. And feel like you could kind of almost be like a phoenix rising from the ashes of the fire. All right, so close your eyes, write down your question, and then close your eyes. By the way, for those of you that would like to, actually, I'm just going to choose today. I'm going to choose because we're in the flow. I'm just going to do the singing bowl. So we'll do the singing bowl for this today. All right, close your eyes, take a nice deep breath, inhale. On the exhale, I want you to let go of any tension that you might be holding on to in your shoulders, neck, and back. Just relax. And imagine that you are on a peaceful island. See yourself perhaps on the Hawaiian island chains or whatever kind of island that you can imagine in your own mind, conjuring it up. And as you look around you, I want you to just smell the sweet air around you because if you ever kind of go to the beach, it smells a little bit like the salt. It might also smell like any of the flowers that might be blooming on the horizon. Just really kind of take in that beautiful, clean air and allow yourself to feel the breeze as well. Connecting with all of the elements here. We're feeling the element of wind. You can dip one foot in the water as you are connecting with the energy of water. Feeling the beautiful, radiant sunshine as it's kind of shining down on your crown chakra. And now making sure that you're planting one foot on the earth as well. You've basically connected with all of the elements. Imagine now that you could sit cross-legged on the beach and see your energetic body walk out of your physical body toward a volcano. And it's not one that's actively sort of like erupting, but you can see a lava flow. Imagine that you could walk through it unscathed, and you could see sort of your way through the entrance of the volcano. And you could see the energy at work in there. All the fire, all the heat, the capacity to take molten energy and move through rocks and wood and steel and concrete. There's this beautiful energy of creation. And imagine that as you're exploring the sort of energies around the volcano, which include both the destructive energies and also the creative energies, on the other side you see where the fire meets the water and new land is being formed. You see untouched area where there's beautiful wildflowers growing. You see all of the sort of energy. You meet Pele, the goddess, and you see her as a very kind and giving energetic goddess. And she reaches out her hand, she touches your heart center, and she wishes you happiness and passion. She says, let me open up your heart space so that you can be as powerful as I am in creating flow of energy in your life. So as you feel her hand touch your heart, even if it's been shut, even if there's been pain, you can feel it starting to melt and starting to open up. All I want you to do as we meditate today is to allow for that opening, to allow for that warmth and that fire to sort of come through your heart, come through your belly, open up through all the different energy points in your body. I'm going to play a singing bowl as we do this. Apologies today, I just wanted to kind of go straight into the meditation. So I'm going to choose the instrument today and just allow for that frequency to allow for more opening to happen. Remembering to breathe as you meditate, as the breath work will allow for more energy to come into your body. Take your hands, rub them together. Put your left hand on your heart, your right hand on top of that. Make a commitment to yourself to choose happiness in the weeks and months that come in front of you here now. Seeing opportunities, not blocks. And where blocks may exist, allowing that energy that Pele has placed into your heart to push through that, to create a new channel, to create an opening where there once was a block. As you keep that thought, I choose happiness in your head, I want you to open your eyes. And let's focus now on that question that you wrote down, your final question, and I'll pull your final card. I'm going to go back to the original deck for this one, just because I really vibed with it today. So let's give this a shuffle, and I want you to focus on your question. Don't type it out just yet, just think about it. And let's see what the guides are bringing through for you. Fantastic. We actually end where we began. We have the Fool, which is a beautiful complement to the Pilgrim. Basically what we saw as your catalyst. So the answer to your question is yes. I mean, the Fool is a new beginning. The Fool also is telling some of you that it's time to move on. So it is a card of walking away, moving forward, resetting energetically, and releasing things. So if there's anyone in your life that you're just sick of, this card is saying you're going to move on. You're not going to hold on to it anymore. As I put back in my original slide, when I was looking at the channel messages, sometimes it's better just to move on. You have to know when and where to sort of like invest time and energy. So this is all about what can be. This is all about the new beginnings on the horizon for you. We have the Little Mermaid in this particular card, which is interesting because she learned a lesson that sometimes the grass isn't always greener on the other side, right? She lost her ability to speak. She gained a human form, but she couldn't communicate with the person that she loved. She missed her family a little bit. There was a lot of give and take. In the Four of Cups there was something to love about both different worlds. So understand that the grass isn't always greener, but if you are ready and willing to make a change and you're ready to kind of put the discipline in place, then you're going to see action happen and you can create that better tomorrow for yourself, okay? If there's someone in your life that's acting a fool, this is also about kind of like moving on and moving away from that energy. But I really like the Fool, and I can't fault it or find anything negative about the Fool when it comes to a final card question. It's just about new beginnings. And Pele, if we kind of put her together with this, she's also saying, like, if something blocked you, if you failed, if you felt like it wasn't going to work, try it again, try again. Like that old Aaliyah song, dust yourself off and try again. You got one more chance here. You're going to be better this time around. And that's what we saw with the Pilgrim song too, or the Pilgrim card too. All right. So that, my friends, is the Scorpio reading for the next 6 to 8 weeks. A reminder that you can come back at any point. Later today, I'll put all the chapter titles in. Sometimes people ask for them immediately, like, where are all the time codes? give me a few minutes. I'll usually have it up in about an hour's time, and then you'll be able to click through. But this is designed in such a way that you should be able to come back again and again to see pieces if you need to. All right, let's just a couple of quick notes and then we'll get into the gratitude portion. Again, if you'd like to join me on social media, those are all the links. I know Maria's put the links out there as well a little bit earlier. Please hit that subscribe button if you're brand new. I don't know why people don't, unless they're on a console or a TV. If you like something, it's the equivalent of like giving some applause. Same thing with the thumbs up. It really does help channel growth. Without it, it's difficult to maintain growth. In addition to this, if you would like to get my schedule, it's here. And again, now I'm going to say thank you to everybody that gave back. First and foremost, I want to say thanks to the folks that have been with me for 7 years or longer. I've lost count of how long I've been doing this. So for everyone that's been with me every step of the way, I appreciate it. If you're a longtime subscriber, thanks for your presence here. It means a lot. For those that are already members, and I see a lot as I'm looking here, a lot of green titles there. Thank you to everybody that's been here, also kind of giving back a little bit more so I can continue to invest in equipment and supplies. You make it all possible. Thanks also to my Patreon supporters. By the way, for anyone who asks about the difference between the two, it's just easier for memberships. There's a few more perks here, but you get to vote just like the members do. So kind of personal preference there. All right, let's take a look now and sort of say thank you to any brand new members that might be a part of today's reading. And then I'll say welcome and thank you to anybody who gave back a little bit in Super Chat or Super Stickers. So I'm going to start with the new members. Need my glasses on for this. All right, so Cherokee, welcome back. Thank you for rejoining after 7 months. Good to have you here. I definitely remember you, and it's good to see your face again. Jessica Craden, brand new member. Welcome. Priscilla Fernandez, also brand new. We have Rachel Remick, which rejoined after 5 months, so welcome back. And I think I welcome Tequila Tyson yesterday. So those are all the new folks. So welcome everybody, or welcome back to those of you that are rejoining. For those who've given a little bit extra in a super sticker or super chat, I'm going to say your name right now, so just give me a moment. All right, kicking things off today, we have Michelle Hardman. Thank you so much for starting things off. I appreciate it. Farin Aziz, good to see you again. Thank you very much for your contribution. Same thing with Joanne Ridner. Good to have you here. Paranormal Experience, welcome. Thank you all the way from Australia. Good to have you. Let's see. Fab OG 42, much appreciation for your contribution. Jules in July, thank you. Sunflower and Chris, I appreciate you guys as well. So thanks to everybody. Hopefully I caught all of you. Let's see, we've got a couple last ones here. So I want to make sure that I mention you. So after Sunflower, we have Chris Duty and let's see, Marta Morales. And then let's see, CAC Lee. So Cakely, I'm not sure. Welcome. Good to have you here joining. So that is everyone and everything for today. And what a nice way to kind of cap off the week. There are some times when I just join and I can really feel a great energy from this sign. And Libra was great yesterday, and I can really feel the same thing for you. I don't know what's going on with March, but it's definitely a nice opening energy, and I feel like there's a lot of opportunity if you're ready and willing to embrace it. All right, everyone, have a fantastic day. Thank you again to Maria for always doing an amazing job with moderating, and thanks again and welcome back to everybody that was able to show up today. All right, I'll see you again on Sunday. And also just a reminder here for the upcoming readings. Let's see, we have Sagittarius, Capricorn, and Aquarius happening next week. Pisces will be happening the following week. All right, until then, see you soon. And again, hope to see you on Saturday, or sorry, on Sunday, and then maybe the impromptu whenever I do that. All right, bye-bye. Thank you.